Okay, I am back. So that was 3 good layers of a workable fixative. Let's just see what that looks like on the fingers. And there's a little bit coming up, but it's okay. It's not too much, so I think we're ready to go. I don't want to put too much fixative on it, otherwise it gets too gritty. So the feel of the paper has really changed. With adding the workable fixative, it's created like this grit feel, almost like a very light sandpaper, which is awesome for oil pastels, right? That kind of sanded paper feel for oil pastels, get lots of layers, right? So it has a kind of a light sandpaper feel, and that's from that workable fixative. And if I rub here, I'm getting just a little bit of that dried pigment up. It's okay, it's not a lot, and it'll be just fine. All right, so that took about 3 layers, as you see as I applied that. And we got a nice gritty sandpaper feel, and we're ready to go with our oil pastels. And I'm going to be using the Paul Rubens today. So this is that 48 count set that I bought a while ago. And this is only the second time I've used my Paul Rubens. I keep them separate from my overall set of oil pastels because they are a little different. But here they are. All right. They kind of look cool when they're all just new like this. Okay, and then we're going to go with these on top of this, even though this is pretty much a finished painting, but we'll see how much it changes when I start going with the oil pastels here. All right, and this is actually the first time I've used the Paul Rubens on top of a Nupastel underpainting, which is what we have here. All right, so where do we start? What colors are we going to pick out here? Let's just look at the back. I think I'm going to go back here first. It's really just a lot of grays and some other darker colors, and got a little house back in there and kind of this flat snow bank area and just some trees. And it's really a gray. If you look at it here in the reference, it's kind of just a lot of gray, okay, which I already have. So let's bring out some grays. Maybe this one here. It's kind of a greenish gray. What other grays do I have in my... That might be the only gray. I do have some of these kind of browns. So maybe we just go with that. And let's see, do I have a white? This is kind of a gray. What is it? A light gray. That's a light gray. So we'll use that. That's black. What is this? This is a white, titanium white. We'll save that for the very last. Don't want to start with white. Titanium white. So I have 2 titanium whites and basically kind of 2 grays. And I have these kind of, what is this here? Burnt umber and a cooked brown soil. Interesting name. And some darks. I'm kind of pulling out some of these darks here. That's the brown. Here is probably a phthalo blue. Yep, we'll probably use that for a dark. This is a Prussian blue, possibly. Feels softer. Oh, no. I don't know. Looks like a Prussian blue. We'll probably use it. Let's see. Here's kind of that yellowy cream color, light yellow. We'll probably use that. And then, of course, some of these lavender or ultramarine. Let's see what this one is. Oh, it's brand new. It's like stuck down in there. Come on. Come out. There you are. Royal blue. I like it. We'll try that out. What's this one? Ultramarine, French ultramarine. Definitely we'll go with that. Maybe even violet kind of color. Ultramarine violet. Just bringing out all the blues. We'll use some of these, maybe all of them. All right, let's just start there. We'll start with that background. So it's probably going to be most of these grays here. This gray titanium dioxide is what they're calling it. And then a light gray. Let's just try this, see what this looks like. All right, so working back to front. I kind of like in scenes, I kind of like working on the distant stuff, the stuff that's farther away. and then move forward. And I typically go top to bottom. If you've been watching my videos on my YouTube channel here, you'll kind of see how I kind of do that same thing over and over again. Kind of work the values in the back first. So let's just see what that looks like here. The Paul Rubens are creamy. I find them to be kind of a sticky, creamy. Some of them are kind of greasy. So if you don't like that feel, maybe you don't want to use the Paul Rubens, or maybe use gloves. I don't mind with my fingers here. And I'm just going to go right over the top of that Nupastel gray. You can see the Paul Rubens gray is a little bit different, a little bit warmer. Okay. It's okay. And we can just kind of spread it around. Kind of pushing it into the paper. Does change it a little bit. I wish I had two different kinds of grays here with the Paul Rubens, but it is what it is. I got what I got, so maybe we'll bring in this, what's this called? Seb Ross Cooked Brown Soil. Right there. It's kind of a brownish color there. Maybe we'll bring some of that in there too. Okay. But I'm just kind of going right over the top of that. Okay. Covering up that Nupastel. In some parts, I'll leave the Nupastel there, showing that Nupastel color. If I already like the color that I have, I'll just leave it there. And let's bring in a blue, maybe this one here. This kind of it's like a Prussian blue, but back in here, there's some distant, like a hill of trees here. Back in here, we'll bring a little of that on there. And then go over there with a little gray to kind of knock back the blue of it, so it's not so blue. Don't want strong color in the back there, or the color will pull forward too much. So just be a little bit. And with these Paul Rubens, they're a little color, just kind of like the Sens, a little color goes a long way. You can kind of put the color down and kind of move it around there with your fingers, kind of spread it out some. Okay. So we can kind of draw some distant trees, kind of going up into it. Using a variety of these grays and soil brown color that the Paul Rubens provides. All right, the distant trees. And I actually like the Paul Rubens on this sanded surface. I think it's a much better surface for them. So I might use Paul Rubens more in this type of application. I haven't mixed the Paul Rubens in with all of my other oil pastels because I feel they are different. And different's not bad. I don't think they're as good quality as the Sens. I think the Sens feel more creamier. But it's not a bad oil pastel to use at all. Not by any means. So, and the great thing about these is their price, right? I mean, they're very inexpensive, which is great. So if you're on a budget, if you don't want to break the bank buying art supplies, especially those Sens are super expensive, these Paul Rubens here might be a good choice for you, a good option to go with here. And this is kind of a sanded surface that I created with the fixative, and I'm starting just by this first here, go with them on this. I actually really like them. I like how I can spread that color out on it and it doesn't feel like a greasy buildup. You know, I do have a video on my YouTube channel where I did a painting of Yosemite painting area. I think it's El Capitan, where I did 100% Paul Rubens. And it was a bit of a challenge in some parts where I was trying to get some layers. I was trying to get the Paul Rubens to stack on top of each other, and I was having difficulty with that. So if you're interested in watching that video, it is on my channel here. You just gotta search for it there, but it's there. Just again, this is the second time I've used these Paul Rubens, so good to try something different every once in a while, and always learn something from that. Okay, so just keeping it vague. In some parts, I leave some of that Nupastel gray coming through. In some parts, I cover it a little bit more. So it just all depends. All right, just kind of coming in between the distant trees here, dropping in some of this brown soil is what they're calling this. And spreading out the color. My finger is really spreading that out. Right, no sharp edges in the back. Remember that, no sharp edges in the back. Okay. Should have nice soft edges, really vague details. All right, maybe there's a tree right there. We can and then soften it with your finger. Okay. Another tree here. Just kind of very vague branches and soften it up with the finger. All right. Okay, now let's get in some of the sky, which is a lighter. Oop, oop, oop. I dropped one of them. Where'd you go? They're down there. Okay, don't want to lose that. This is a light gray. Let's put that for the sky back in here. There's a sky, a little bit of it, a little piece of it right here. And let's put some sky in here. Kind of bring it in between some of these browns and grays I put into it. Kind of goes over the top there like that. There's that distant hill back there. More sky. More sky. Over here I see there's some sky coming through. Kind of bringing in that between the browns. By doing that, you're creating kind of tree trunks. Right? And push in and drag it. Yeah, I like the Paul Rubens much better on a sanded surface. That's a definite yes on that. Much easier to, I think, work with. All right, you can see what I'm doing now. We're kind of creating the sky coming in between the trees, right? Just by kind of creating those lines. All right, so you get the idea with that. There's a tree right here that will define a little better, but just kind of keep going across the top there. All right, and it kind of fades there in the back. Right, again, in the back I tend to mark it with my finger, kind of changes that a little, softens the edges. Okay, And you can see where the hill needs to kind of continue right here. So put a little blue in there, kind of continue that through. Again, soft edges in the back, no sharp edges, okay? Right, sharp up here, right? Soft in the back. Maybe that hill kind of comes up in here and does something like that back in there. Right, really strong color. I mean, a little bit goes a long ways with this, and same with the scents. That's what's nice about using the softer brands like these Paul Rubens and the Sens, is that just a little bit of color, and then your finger kind of spreads that out. Okay, you can cover a lot just by doing that. Let's come back over again with this brown soil color. Recreate some of those trees that are sitting back in there. Some branches, some trees. Right? Very soft, vague. Soft edges. Okay. All right, now let's bring in this blue. Let's define this tree right here, which seems to be a little closer, and kind of define him a little bit better. Right, and maybe I'll bring in a stump here. Let's see. I've got some of these stumps here. Trying to find one that, maybe this one here. Right, because sometimes it's easier to spread it out with a pointed tip like this. So a stump like this is helpful. All right, and that's just this blue. It's like a Prussian blue. Right, but we changed the color of it just by tapping it here with the stump, spreading it out. Bring it down here, and then here there might be another tree right in there, maybe another one right here, kind of ones that are a little closer to us, a little bit more prominent. They're a little darker. That way we have different dimensions even within the back here. All right, a little bit of darkness here at the base. Okay, and then we're going to take the stump here and really spread that. All right, spread it up. Right. Okay, so there we go. Try to keep the camera on my work. That's important, right? You guys be able to see what I'm doing here. And my little reference picture timed out on me. So come back, reference picture. Oop. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Not that I really need it. I mean, I have pretty much the reference right in front of me, but every once in a while I look over there, kind of find things that I want to add to it. Right, a little color goes a long way with the softer oil pastels. Back to the brown soil. Create some branches that cut across. All right, that's pretty good. That's a good background. See? Nice. Okay, let's move on down. And then I think the house, you see the house there? I kind of just left it. I think I'm just going to leave it. Not sure if I want to really do much with it. Maybe we'll take this yellow, this cream. Maybe we'll do, you know, where the sun kind of hits that roof right there. Okay, just a really nice thin little line back there. Just kind of fade it back in there. And then maybe there's a chimney. Yeah, maybe in the chimney. So we do the top of the chimney, maybe like right there. Right, just an indication like that. That's all you really need. Right, just a little rooftop. We know that, oh, there's a building back there. That's a little interest, I think. So I'm glad I left it. We're just going to leave it that Nupastel blue there. I think that's a good color for it. I don't need to cover that with the Paul Rubens. Sometimes if the Nupastel is giving me the color I want, I just leave it. I think that's good. Okay, now let's go with this kind of this land here where it levels off here, just like in the reference. See that? Kind of goes across like that. We'll just use this light gray for that. Okay, so I'm going to add it. And I'm going to smear it. Okay. Smear it. Add it. Make it change in elevation here and there. Okay, so it's not just a straight going across. It's kind of wobbly. Right? Okay, and then some of it comes down here. Here, I can see parts of it, light hitting the snow here, coming down, kind of sloping it down as it comes down into the creek bed. Okay. And then we'll come in with some blues here with Paul Rubens, maybe that French ultramarine, and just put that in there, see what that looks like. But honestly, the blue of the Nupastel that's already there is actually working pretty well. So I might not do that. So one thing I need to say about this as we paint this here together. So I'm wondering if you guys are painting with me as I'm doing this. I always think about that. But if you're not, if you're just watching, that's cool. But one thing to note about using a hard pastel with oil pastel on top of it, you know, I have that workable fixative in between, is when this painting is all done, when it is completely done, I am not going to use a final fixative on it to protect it. Because I know from experience that when I do that, it darkens things. Because fixative on top of a dry or soft pastel does not work. It changes the colors, it darkens things. And I just haven't found a fixative out there on the market that doesn't do that. Now, maybe there is, and I just haven't found it, but I've ruined paintings where I have I've used Nupastel and then a workable fixative, and then I used layers of oil pastel, and then when I was all done, I took a final fixative, you know, and then I sprayed the whole thing to try to protect it, and it ruined the painting because it darkened all the colors, and I just was like, I was so mad. But yeah, I don't do that. I've learned my lesson there, not to do that. All right, so that's just a word of advice. When this painting's done, it will be framed behind glass, right? I want these colors to stay exactly how I'm putting them down, and I know if I do a final fixative or varnish on it, it's going to change everything, and things will get darkened, and I don't want that to happen. So just letting you know, you can learn from my mistakes here. Don't do what I did. Just frame behind glass. It's going to be totally fine. It's not going to change things. It looks fine behind glass. Not everything needs to be with a fixative on it. Sometimes just glass, plexiglass will work just fine. Okay. So anyway, just wanted to give you that heads up. All right, so let's keep going with this. Let's just get a little bit thicker into it now. As we get here, we get a little bit thicker, really bright here. Boy, that sanded surface feel really works great with these Paul Rubens. making me appreciate the Paul Rubens even more so now that I'm doing this here. Right, it comes down and it kind of slopes and just kind of drops. Right, and you can kind of cover it with your finger, kind of change it a little bit. Right here also, remember I'm following the slope of the land. There's a little bit of clumping up a little bit, but that's okay, you can smooth it out. Here, it's okay if it clumps a little. Here, slopes down. There's some rocks back in there that are covered up. Some rocks that are covered with snow. Like that one there. Right. This is a light gray, so when I come in with the white as the highlight, it's going to make that area even brighter. So always start with a light gray if you want to convey a white, like this snow. I'm trying to convey this white snow, but you notice I'm not starting off with white. Okay. Leave the white till the very last. Then when you need it bright, you can go with the white. All right. Cool. Working out so far. So far, so good. A little sticky with the Paul Rubens, but that's okay. Sticky is sometimes good. You can get some good layers on top of that. All right. And the snow. Nice and thick. Looks like it just snowed the night before. All right. And we got like a foot of snow in this area. All right, let's try some of that blue. Where's that French ultramarine? That's royal blue. We'll try that. But also I'm gonna try, what's this one? French ultramarine blue. Okay, let's see what this looks like. See how dark that is. Not too bad. I actually want a little bit of that violet in here because I see a little bit of violet in that shadow. It's got kind of a bit of a warmth to it because the sun is reflecting the snow back onto itself here, so it kind of creates a warmer, and that's kind of what this violet will give me. Right in this area. Right here, it's a good, nice, warmer shadow. Okay, and then we can always add a little bit on top to kind of darken it maybe. Because right here at the banks, it seems to be, get some more of that shadow. Right here where it meets the creek bed. A little bit darker there. All right, notice how I'm blending, I'm following that landscape, how it kind of curves into that. Right? That's kind of how I blend it too. Back in here. Okay, so back in here, I think I'm going to go with this lighter blue for the snow shadows back in that area. That's what's cool about snow. There's so many different kinds of shades of blue you can put into it to kind of convey different types of reflections from the sun. And just or different shadows. Rather. So it's a little bit interesting. I think that's good. This is a, what is this? It's called gray blue. Interesting. I kind of see it as a sky color, but whatevs. Whatever works. Maybe we'll put some of this into it as well. Right, snow's always fun. There's always some different colors in the snow. It's not really just white. Now with this, you might notice that some of the crumbs, the oil pastel kind of crumb up, kind of these little crumbs. It's okay, just kind of rub those out. Just rub them out. Okay, there we go. All right, let's keep going. Add a little bit of this into it. See, I want my darker blues kind of to be towards here, and these are kind of a warmer, and a little bit of shadows. And this violet really works well for that. And you can go over the top of it with this kind of a darker violet, old French ultramarine, and kind of come up with just the right shade. Where it's not too dark, but not too violet. Okay. We have, I live in Portland, the Portland, Oregon area. I live in a suburb of Portland, so I'm not in the city limits, but I'm just right there. But anyways, so we got hit with a lot of snow here last week. I got about 8 inches in my neighborhood. And it's February, so it's kind of unusual this time of year to get that kind of snow. In fact, I think we broke a record we got second most snow in February since like 1940 or something like that. So it was fun. It came down on a Wednesday evening, kind of late afternoon, evening, and it just snowed like pretty much the whole night. And so we woke up Thursday just like winter wonderland. Pretty much shut the town down. Portland does not do well with snow. I don't know why, but they don't salt the roads. Maybe it's an environmental thing. And so it just stays there. Pretty much shuts the city down, shuts all the highways down. People get their cars stranded. I don't know if anyone spent the night in their vehicle. That I've heard of that happening. I almost got stuck in it because I'm driving a school bus during the week because I need health insurance. And working for the school gives me amazing health insurance. As being self-employed, it's difficult and very expensive, and doesn't make sense to try to cover it on my own, which I've been doing for the last 5 years. It's just very expensive. So I was like, I need a job that has insurance. So I wanted something that had a lot of flexibility where I can get a lot of time off and I can still do the things I want to do, like paint and spend time with family. So working for the school system is the best way to go. But I decided in driving because I like driving. I like kids. Don't mind it. Honestly, dealing with rowdy kids. And the health benefits are awesome, right? Can't beat them. 100% covered by the school district. So I have no health premium coming out, and 100% covered for me, my wife, right? Anyone in my household, it's all covered. Dental and health. So anyway, I was out driving the bus. I wasn't driving, but I was doing a ride along with someone who was driving. And we almost got stuck in it. Coming down a hill. We slid a little bit, slid sideways a couple times. And I just thought, this is it. We're going to get stuck here. I don't know how I'm going to get home, but fortunately we made it. The guy who's driving, he's from Colorado Springs, and he was used to driving in the snow and used to driving a bus. He'd been driving a bus for a while, so he got us out of there, and thank God he was driving. I don't know if I would have gotten us stuck. Probably would have. Anyway, just kind of letting you know, that's kind of what's taken up a lot of my time is working my job. And so, you know, Monday through Friday, I'm getting up at 4:45 in the morning, so I can get something to eat and get myself ready to go drive a school bus. And finding that it's very tiring to drive a bus, actually. Kind of wipes you out. So at the end of the day, I don't really feel like doing much but just sit in front of my TV and vegging. And so trying to find times when I can paint. It's really down to the weekends here, as it is a Saturday today. So that's probably what it's going to be like. Maybe on my spring breaks here, I'll do some painting. I do have a 3-hour midday break, but I've been doing some field trips, so that's kind of been taking that up. And, you know, I'm learning how to drive a bus, which is, honestly, it's not easy. I'll just say that. It's a big learning curve. And, you know, when I took the job, I was like, yeah, this is going to be easy, super easy. I can drive a bus, take the kids home, blah, 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 blah. This is a piece of cake. And what I've realized is it is not a piece of cake. It is very, what's the right word for it? It takes a lot of mental awareness, I guess. That's a good way to put it. And then trying to drive it's a 40-foot bus, transit style. So it's got the flat face, 40 feet long. Seats about, 85 kids if there's 3 to a seat, right? So that's a lot of bus to worry about behind you. And so trying to get that around corners was an eye-opener. I have a lot of respect for people who drive big vehicles now and what it takes to do something like that. And dealing with people in cars that just cut in front of you and don't understand that I'm working with this huge vehicle behind me. So all you bus drivers out there, truck drivers out there that might be watching me paint this, a heads up to you guys. You guys are awesome. I know what it goes like. I've been driving a bus now. I just started my route, so I'm now doing it by myself as I got through my training and I passed my CDL tests with flying colors. So very happy about that. That was 6 weeks of training. And very difficult to learn how to drive a bus. Not a piece of cake like I envisioned it to be. So shout out to all you bus drivers out there, truck drivers, big rig drivers. Shout out to you guys. I have a new respect for what you guys are doing. All right. Anyway, gotta have something to talk about. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of just altering. I'm going between kind of these 3 colors here. I'm just kind of creating shaded areas and then snowed light colored areas and kind of just working these in here as I go through it. Right. And then touching it up with my finger to try to smear it. Okay. So if you're doing something like this, you can just kind of follow the same. Basically, I use this French ultramarine as the shaded part of the snow. And then I kind of drag it around the color. And if I need to warm it up, then I'm taking this violet ultramarine and then going over the top of that. Okay. And then we take this gray and create the parts where the sun is hitting it, right? The very tops of that little clump there. And just using that gray there for now. Now we might come in here later and actually put in that white or that cream to kind of bring in some more highlights or warmth to it. Right, but I want a good indication. I want a feel of some deep, clumpy snow. Okay, that just like my reference picture is showing me. That's what I want. All right. So I have a spring break coming up here at the end of March, like in 3 weeks. So again, one of the big reasons why I chose to be a bus driver is because of all the time off that you get as a bus driver. You can't beat it, honestly. I thought about being a city bus driver, but they don't get that spring break, right? These city bus drivers got to work pretty much through everything. Even you don't get snow days off like a school bus driver does. So when I thought about that, I thought, oh, yeah, I think I'm going school bus instead of city bus, just for that reason, just because of all the time I get off as a work in the school district, and the benefits are about the same. Pension might be better for a city bus, but I think more important for me than that is time off. Never thought I'd get into bus driving, but you know, when it comes to paying the bills, it comes to getting health insurance. It's like I've been doing it, paying it on my own, me and my wife, because we own a salon also, hair salon. And so we've been just covering our health premiums. It is stupid expensive. Honestly, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. And we tried it for several years here, actually almost 5 years, and just wasted so much money on health when we could have just had it covered just by me having a job. So it just said, you know, we're getting older. I'm 50, turned 50 in December. My wife turned 50 in February, so we're getting older. And yeah, going to the doctor more, really, truly. And so as we get older, that's just going to keep happening. Keep going to the doctor more. Got to have some way to pay for it, right? And since my wife's salon provides a lot of income for us, it doesn't provide health care, right? Being self-employed, so you got to cover that. So yeah, so we were talking, and it's just, you know, it just makes sense if I just get like a regular job and cover that expense for us, so we don't have to cover that as we get older. I got to get a colonoscopy, and I need dental work done, so it's like, yeah, we need some health insurance. And I didn't want to go back to a 40-hour-a-week inside office job at a computer. I didn't want to do that. I did that for so long. You know, I didn't want to go back into computers and tech support and stuff like that, which I did before. I didn't want to do that. I've done that enough. I did that for over 20 years. I'm ready to try something different, and this bus driving is completely different. It's like a brand new career almost. And I liked my kids. They're fun. We talk and hang out, and you know, they're only on the bus for maybe 30 minutes or so, and then that's it. Off the bus. So I have to deal with some issues, some management issues and things that I'm learning about how to deal with young kids. I drive a middle school and a elementary age, and I'm finding the middle school is actually easier. They're a little older. Sometimes they're loud, but honestly, the elementary kids, they're wild. They are just happy to be out of school, and they are all over the place. They're standing on seats. They're walking across the aisle. They're moving all over the bus. I mean, they are active and they're loud. You know, they're first graders, second graders, so they're young. They don't understand why we got to sit still or why we got to stay seated on the bus. Middle schoolers are a little different. They say some funny things, the middle schoolers. They're at that puberty age. Some of the things they say, I got to stop myself from not laughing too loud because it is just freaking wild. It's like, I wonder if I must have been like that when I was in middle school. It's funny, though. I have a good time with it. A lot of the kids are great. Most of them are. There's only a couple here that are, you know, they just don't want to do anything. Don't want to listen to you at all. And so there's been some management things going on that I have to deal with, but that's part of the job. At least with the city bus, you know, the city bus, I'd be dealing with drunks and mental health issues and people spitting on you, and it's more of a dangerous occupation, I think. Adults being crazy, having problems, mental health problems. I really don't want to deal with that. God bless them, but I just don't want to deal with it. I'd rather deal with rowdy kids. Right. Anyway, I feel like I gotta talk here while we go through a painting. Otherwise, maybe it's a little too boring for you guys. See, I'm spending a lot of time. I'm just creating all these different shadows here. He's using basically these three right here. An French ultramarine, a violet, ultramarine violet, and just a light gray. And that's all I'm doing right here. And I come in and I just kind of drop in snow like right there, kind of smear it. Like, pretend that's like a boulder or something right there. So on the top, it gets that nice highlight. And then on the shaded part of the snow, it's kind of a violet. And then maybe a little bit of this ultramarine kind of darkens it a little bit. All right, so some of it's a little darker, right? Okay, let's kind of cut in some darks. So let's bring in, there's a black, maybe this brown, it's just called brown. Let's bring in some brown. That's basically the water. The color of the water is this dark brown color. And it's right here. There's like a leveled water area right here. This part of this creek. So I'm going to smear that. And always with water, as I've said many times with this, is always put it in flat, okay? Flat, horizontal. All right, so where I think would be the water from looking at that reference, it's going to go in flat, okay? Put it in flat and blend it flat, okay? Water should lay flat, as flat as you can. All right, so there's kind of that. And just kind of in between some of these, going to be a little darker, some dark areas. Maybe some exposed rock that's a little darker, just like in the reference picture I'm looking at. There's areas where there's no snow at all and it's just a dark rock underneath. Right? good. Just kind of go in here and there, find those little darks, just add them. All right, you can see where that creek is coming in. Right here it's dark. There's some rock there that's showing up. Maybe we'll bring in that black, huh? Let's try it. I do need a darker than this brown here. This black here, I think we'll do the trick here, but right here it seems to be darker. And we'll smear it so it's not so prominent. And I'm in here, some dark rock. It's my stomach growling. Probably gonna take a break here very soon and get some lunch, walk my dog. And I think he needs a walk. And it's good to take a break. Come at it with some fresh eyes here. Okay, bring in some darks. Here, this rock, this is a big rock. Here, big rock, but it's got some snow all the way around it. But it's definitely dark there. Down in here, this is where the darkest darks are gonna be. Down on that base. A little bit of black in there and kind of smear it around. We can even put the brown on top of the black to try to, so it's not so black, basically. Very strong. Black is, it pulls forward quite a bit. But we have some rock here, dark rock. Dark rock. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna bring maybe a little blue right on top of that. Trying to figure out what blue on top of that water level. Just a little bit of. Oh, my stomach's really growling. I hope you guys don't hear that. It's a little embarrassing. Dark there. Dark, dark. Where those rocks are sitting there. Yeah, I think that blue right there. It's supposed to be the water surface right there. Make sure it's level. Make sure it's not slanted. That's pretty decent. Okay, maybe a little bit of that down in here. All right, some more of this black. The base of that rock. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in this French violet. Because you can see how the water and the ice kind of iced up right here, and it kind of drops like this. Right, and this is really bright because of the sun that's hitting it. It hits that surface of the water and it just really reflects really bright. But we can kind of convey kind of the water, how it kind of was going over the edges like that. Okay, and then back in here. Now I'm going to bring in a white. This is why you save the white for last, because when you really need it bright, the white will do the trick on top of that gray. Okay. All right, as that water kind of drops down here, see I have this nice ledge here. It holds all the oil pastels for me. It's kind of nice. And then drops down. There's another little rock here that's getting a little sun. Another rock here that's getting a little sun. All right. Right, and there was that water surface, got a little blue right there. Remember, horizontal marks. I think we need a dark right here, right there. Okay. All right, I think it's a good time for a break. It's hard to make a break. Sometimes I want to keep going, but I'm hungry. Dog's being very patient with me. There's a rock here that's got a lot of snow on it. And I want to walk him today. Because I know he's looking forward to that. That's the best part of the day. Favorite part of the day is when we go on walks. So we walk about a mile, then we turn around, come home. Gets a nice, good long walk. It's his favorite part of the day by far. This is snow, but it's in the shade. And so it's kind of this, it's not white, it's more of this color here. That's what it's supposed to be, anyways. In case you're wondering, what are you doing? This is snow, but in the shade. This is the bright part of where the sun hits it, and then it just kind of fades down. These Paul Rubens are really creamy. A little bit of a greasy feel, not too bad. I think it's the sanded surface is what's kind of helping me here with them, as they work great on a sanded surface. I recommend them on a sanded surface, actually. Okay. Then we have that surface of the water here that gets some sun. Here. Horizontal strokes. Over here, this is white. Surface of the water a little bit. Kind of frozen, kind of not. All right, I think it's time for a break. And clean my hands, but let's see what we got here. I need to clean up this rock. Maybe smooth it out a little. And darken up the end part of it right here where there's rock that's exposed. Yeah. I don't know, we'll come back. We'll keep playing around. We've only just worked on this section like here. Most of this is probably going to be done. I might add some of that cream like here. I'm thinking about adding this cream in here and just kind of warming it up. Let's just see what that looks like right now. I can just do that real quick. Just see if I can just get a little bit of a different kind of a highlight on it. It's like this cream. It's not real dramatic, actually. I don't know if it's even going to make a difference, but let's see if we can get a little bit of a yellowy to it. Yeah, it doesn't really come through. Oh well, here's an idea. I don't know if it really changed it. Maybe a little bit of a yellow tint to it. But yeah, it's coming together, guys. You can kind of tell that's water. You can see that, right? It kind of falls on the side. Right down here. Kind of disappears as it goes back. Cool. There's my reference. See what I'm getting at? All right, I need to take a break. I got to eat, walk the dog. I'll be back soon.